Namaskaram, my dear friends, I am back again. I know it's been a while. I had some time with family, and the time I give to them is the time I give to them. Nothing in between, and I try my best to dedicate all that I have in those moments for them and for them only. So thank you all for understanding. For today's episode, I'm gonna share with you all profound changes in me because of sadhana. I know I have shared some in the past, but they just keep adding and adding. So these are like, I feel new to me changes. So a little bit over 2 years worth of sadhana. These are the changes, so here we go. I have noticed that I'm actually very sensitive to food now. Yeah, I've really talked about in the past where the relationship I have with food has changed, but right now I feel like it's getting more refined and refined. So I really noticed that when foods are processed and I eat it, it has an almost instant effect as to how my body would react to the food that I take. Usually when food's like very processed or not fresh, like my body just goes around. So it has been very important for me to really watch what I eat because the effects is now very sensitive, which I think is a good thing because it's like an instant response as to what food is good for me. So yes, food sensitivity to a higher level. Next is very speedy recovery. I think I've talked about this before, that I rarely get sick now, but during times when I do, very interesting, and it's usually when I eat a ton of crappy food, I would get sick like one whole day. But it's like a very intense worth of sickness. Like when my tummy aches, like my tummy will ache really bad, but then after that, the next day I feel like I'm brand new again. Or like when I catch a cold, that whole day I will have a really bad cold, and then the next day I feel brand new again. The last one I noticed was, it was like a fever because I was in an area where there's so much dust, so my body was just trying to get rid of the dust that was in my system. This was like in a building that was never cleaned at all. So I think I probably inhaled a lot of not so good dust, and I was functioning okay, but I had a really high fever. So I went to bed really tired with a really high fever. I didn't take anything at all. And then the next day, I feel brand new again. So it's very interesting. It's just my body is so effective in getting rid of the unwanted stuff, and then boom, brand new again. Third thing I notice is, again, some sort of sensitivity to my reaction, not really reaction, to how I feel about a certain space. When Sadhguru said that, you know, he walks into a room and he feels like it's like a coffin, oh my god, I can sense that because I went into a huge house. There's only like 3 that live in the house, but it's like 5 bedrooms. There was a second floor, it's huge. It was like a fortress. And then there were rooms there that I know nobody have lived, because when you walk in there, aside from the smell of like enclosure, it just feels like a huge coffin. I don't know, I've never been inside a coffin, but I could honestly feel that there was no airflow, there was no living thing in that area, that it was just stale and dead. And that sensitivity in me too, it's just like when you walk in, it's like boom, you feel it. I feel it. So yes, I feel really sensitive to spaces now. Or when I walk into like a situation and then some sort of activity that have happened in the past, I can now sense whether it was some joy or some complications, or I feel like the energy that has been left in that room, even if it's empty, I can now feel it and somehow decipher what it was. So yes, sensitivity to some space. Fourth one is also sensitivity, but now to human beings. It's very interesting because I meet a lot of people, not necessarily every day, but from time to time I meet a lot of people just because of the nature of what I do. And with the way they interact with me, the way they are, just their demeanor, I can also sense how they can be. It's like how they are, their aura, their energy that covers all of them. I would say it's like their karma, where I can somehow predict how they can be, how their tendencies are, and kind of have like a generic understanding of how they will react to things. And I'm not saying I'm correct most of the time, but more often than not, I almost always get it right now. Like when a new person comes to me, I can somehow already sense that, this person's probably gonna get into some sort of trouble in the future. Or if this person is going to actually excel in something that they're gonna do. So more sensitivity, more sensitivity. Last thing I've noticed is I'm also a little bit sensitive now to action. Action meaning when there's something that someone does, I can sense a feeling if something is about to go wrong. I had this feeling before that my sister was asking something from my mom, and then it just dawned on me that something was going to happen about that thing that my sister borrowed from my mom. And I was right. I was really right at that moment, because something did happen about that thing that she borrowed from my mom. So specifics though. So my sister borrowed a 1-year ticket, 1-year like pass for a train. She borrowed it from my mom. So my mom lent it to her. And then I already have a feeling that she's probably gonna lose it. And at the end of the day, guess what? It went missing and never to be found. So that was actually really interesting. And recently too, I feel like maybe at that moment it was so obvious that it was gonna happen, but like recently it's more often than not now that I can sense something might go wrong. Something very recent was my mom was cooking, and you know, my mom helps me in the kitchen, or I help her in the kitchen. She was chopping these vegetables and she was setting it aside. And then after that, she was doing something with the trash. And I already have a feeling something might go wrong. I didn't say anything because I want her to do what she needs to do, and if I interrupt her telling her things, then her flow might get distracted. But anyway, so I just let it be because I didn't really think, you know, there was a lot of things at stake. But I already felt something while she was handling the trash. But she picked up the trash really high. And this trash like fell into the chopped vegetables. And then like, oh my god. I'm not sure if I should have told her, but I sensed that something would have happened, and it happened. So very interesting, you guys. I feel like sadhana has made me more sensitive to the things that are around me. And I don't know, it's just grace. It's like I can be aware, I can be more conscious in how to respond to the things that are yet to come, or more gracious and grateful and just be blissful as to how I would interact with the external world. I hope you all may experience what I'm experiencing through sadhana, through the grace of Sadhguru. The impossible has become possible. May we all be under His grace. Namaskaram. I think that's it, you guys. Until next time. Bye.